Welcome back to the channel, and today we have a video that shows once again how these days the border patrol thinks that they can pull over anyone and demand anything they want. But just watch how this man was able to put this tyrant officer in his place and do a walk of shame. But first, remember to like the video and leave a comment with your thoughts on this interaction.
This encounter kicks off with a deceptively calm tone. A simple, "How we doing?" But within seconds, it transforms into a tense constitutional showdown. What makes this moment instantly gripping is how quickly the power dynamic is challenged. The officer attempts to take control with routine questioning, but the man refuses to play along, anchoring himself on one key question: what crime have I committed? That single line becomes the backbone of the entire confrontation. You can feel the tension building as the officer struggles to justify the stop, shifting from casual inquiry to authority-based demands, specifically the request for ID. But here's where things get interesting. Instead of compliance, the man pushes back harder, exposing the lack of clear legal grounds. The phrase, "you're by the border," is introduced as justification, but it lands weakly. The man immediately dismantles it, forcing the officer into a defensive loop. And then comes the psychological escalation. The officer subtly increases pressure with repeated ID demands, while the man mirrors intensity with sharper, more direct resistance. But the real turning point in this segment is the moment the officer says the clock is ticking. That line changes everything. It introduces urgency, almost like a countdown to potential enforcement action. At this point, the situation feels like it could go either way, compliance or escalation. Instead of backing down, the man makes a strategic move. He requests a supervisor. This is critical. It signals confidence, knowledge, and a refusal to be intimidated. The energy shifts from confrontation to anticipation. Now the audience is left hanging in suspense. Was the officer justified, or is he about to be exposed? The scene pauses right at peak tension, setting up a powerful payoff in the next part.
How are we doing?
I'm doing all right.
Recording?
Hell yeah. Are you?
No, I'm not.
Oh, you should.
But you said you guys are humanitarians out here? That's what I heard.
Yeah, is that wrong?
Oh, I want to know what you guys are doing in the area.
I'm on a public road.
Right.
Yeah,
But what are you doing in this area?
I'm on a public road. I'm not answering questions.
Not really.
Not
You have
really.
ID on you?
What crime have I committed?
Hey, go ahead. Do you have any ID on you?
Do you have your ID? Why don't you give me your ID? You been drinking today? You here to violate my rights?
Do you have any ID on you, sir?
Are you here to violate my rights?
We're not violating rights, sir. You're by
Okay.
the border.
Am I
We're allowed to
detained?
check.
Am I
Yes,
detained?
sir, you are.
I'm detained right now.
Yes, sir,
What
you
crime am I being detained for?
You're by the border. You don't have to
By
commit
the
a crime.
border. That's a crime these days?
Right now, with everything going on, anything by the border, we could check ID.
What
and the
crime
person
have
that we
I
could
committed?
check.
What crime have I committed? Yeah, turn that on.
You have
What's your name? Could you identify yourself? Right now, you're just wearing a costume to me. What's your name, sir? And who do you represent?
I represent Border Patrol, sir.
Okay, and what's your name, agent?
Agent Zepeda.
Could you, Zepeda? All right, really good.
Do you have any idea?
I haven't committed any crime, so there's no reason for me to
sir,
give you an ID.
You don't have to commit a crime to give us ID.
Okay.
But when we're allowed to check individuals that are up to 100 miles from the border,
For
Right now,
what?
you are at the
for
border.
citizenship?
and to find out who they are.
For citizenship?
That and to
Okay.
find out who the
I'm a
person
U.S.
is.
citizen.
Outstanding.
All right.
Great.
Do you have any other suspicion that I'm not a U.S.
I
citizen?
need to find out who you are, because I don't know you.
I don't know you. I don't know you. You have a gun. You're making me very nervous. I'd rather stop this conversation at this point. I'm good. All right. Well, the clock is ticking.
From both of y'all?
The clock is ticking. You let me know.
Until I get ID from both of y'all?
The clock is ticking.
Then we can find out who you are.
You need to get a supervisor here.
They're on the way.
All right. Good. All right. Then I don't got anything else to say until they get here.
As the second segment begins, the tension doesn't drop, it evolves. What started as a basic stop now turns into a battle of knowledge, authority, and credibility. The officer attempts to regain control by introducing a new claim that the area falls under a National Defense Area, NDA. On the surface, this sounds serious, almost unquestionable. But this is where the entire situation begins to unravel. The man immediately challenges the claim, not emotionally, but strategically. He brings in specifics, distances, boundaries, and signage, effectively cornering the officer into a factual debate. And this is where the power dynamic flips. The officer, who initially held authority, now appears uncertain, even misinformed. You can feel the shift. The confidence that once drove the officer's commands starts to fade, replaced by hesitation. Meanwhile, the man becomes more assertive, calling out inconsistencies and directly stating that the officer is wrong. It's no longer just resistance, it's exposure. Then comes the defining moment. The supervisor arrives. This is the climax. All the built-up tension now rests on one question. Who is right? The answer comes quickly and decisively. The supervisor confirms that the individuals are not in the NDA. In that instant, everything collapses for the initial officer. The justification for the detention disappears. Authority is corrected, and a narrative flips. What began as an attempt to control ends as a clear loss of credibility. The final line, "You are free to go," isn't just a release. It's the resolution of a power struggle. And more importantly, it delivers a satisfying payoff to the audience. Knowledge prevailed, pressure failed, and the truth ultimately won.
Other one. What's a good word?
So I called the supervisor. He's on his way.
Okay, I'll stand by.
Yeah, we're gonna wait for him here.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, do you guys have ID that I have to identify who you guys are?
I'm gonna wait until the supervisor shows up. Thank you kindly.
Okay.
Yeah.
But can you tell me why you guys are in the area? What's your
There's a lot
business?
of cars at these factories over here. You know, maybe go check on them. Are you checking each and every one of those? I'm on a public street.
You're actually more and more like, this is now a national defense area.
It's not. This is like National Defense Area is over here at 60
And it
feet.
comes
It's called the
like all
Roosevelt
over.
Reservation. It does not come over here. It starts 2 miles down there and it extends up to New Mexico 9. You need to get educated.
Yeah,
What do you?
New Mexico 9
It needs to
over
get
there,
needs to get educated.
this is
No,
part-
this is not the NDA. You're not in the NDA. That's totally inaccurate. You're lying to me right now.
No, I'm not.
You know it's. Well, then you are misinformed. You are severely misinformed. We are not in the NDA. You know that. You know that.
This is actually military.
The NDA is down there. Negative, sir. This is a public street. That's public over there. They're all public roads. This is not the NDA. Where's the NDA signs at? They're over there. And which way do they face? They face. No, none of them face this way. They face that way. You've been misinformed. You guys got to get on the same page. You know you're not in the NDA. Don't be telling people in the public like that, violating their rights. It absolutely is. You're lying. You're saying that we're in the NDA. We're not.
So is this vehicle registered to you?
What'd you have for breakfast?
I haven't had breakfast.
Yeah. Well, you should, because you're like confused.
Is this vehicle registered to you?
Not
Or is
going
it a
there.
rental?
Wait, I'll talk to a supervisor.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. All right.
Meet me up here.
All right. Go do your homework. Hi.
Afternoon, sir.
Hey, how you doing?
How are you?
Very good. I'm recording, just so you know.
Yeah. Watch Commander Day.
I'll do this.
Okay, that'll work.
Yeah. Very good.
Hello, ma'am. Watch Commander Day. How are you?
Abby and James.
Okay, very nice
Yeah.
to meet you, Abby and James.
Yeah.
Very nice to meet you guys.
Yeah.
How can I help you? You guys asked for a supervisor?
You can let me go. I'm detained currently.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think what we were trying to do is let you know, the closer you get to the fence, all of this area, 65 yards north of the fence, has been determined National Defense Area. Okay.
Well,
So it's now a military installation 65 yards north of the fence.
there's no
Okay?
signs. The signs are
There are
down there.
signs,
The
yeah.
signs are down there. They're for the Roosevelt Reservation. We're familiar. You guys ran our plates. You know who we are. So the Roosevelt Reservation's off limits. We respect that. We always have.
Yeah.
We've been out here doing this work for a couple of years.
Up here, you're good.
Okay,
Up here, you're good.
up here we're good, but this gentleman says we're detained because we are on the NDA. you know, and so
you're
there's a little conflict here.
Okay, you're currently not on the NDA.
Thank you kindly.
However, from the fence 65 yards north, you would be on the NDA, just so that you're aware.
Yeah.
Okay?
From what I understand, the signs point south.
For people that enter, because that's usually what we do.
Of course,
People
yeah.
that enter.
And then the NDA is expanded a couple miles down, all the way up to New Mexico 9.
No, it's further than that.
Well, it starts, the expanded part of the NDA is a few miles down, up to 9, all the way down to Hachita. And then you got the 3-mile buffer down in the boot heel. We're familiar.
And then we go this way as well.
Right. But we're not on the NDA.
Currently, you're
Okay,
not. You're right.
so is that clear, sir? Did you learn something? All right. Little ego thing going on there.
All right, we cleared it up.
All right, we cleared it up? That'd be great.
All right, you guys are free to go. Thank you.
All right, we're free to stay too as well, right?
You are.
Okay, have a fine day.
You too.
All right, be well. Cheers.
Now, this is the perfect example of why you need to know your rights, especially these days where you see that every government agency that has anything to do with immigration can do anything they want, especially if you don't know how to defend yourself. This is why it is so important for you to know your rights and to help us to bring awareness to the rest of the public. So don't forget to support the channel by subscribing, like the video and leave a comment to reach more people. And remember, always record the police.